Picture yourself in the 1350s Kyushu, squatting by a crackling campfire in a samurai encampment, the air thick with the musk of sweat, horse dung and rice wine. The Nanboku-cho wars rage on, and this muddy sprawl of tents is home to warriors who'd rather slice a man than salute him. But tonight, the gossip's juicier than a fresh-killed boar. You hear whispers of Takeshi, a grizzled samurai with a scar like a crescent moon, sneaking off to the bamboo grove with a camp follower named Hana. Their tryst is no chivalric romance, more like medieval Tinder by campfire light, all furtive glances and sack-soaked promises. Her fingers trace his armour's dents, their breaths mingling in the humid dark, while the grove rustles with what might be wind, or a fox spirit if you believe the old retainers. See, in 14th century Japan, samurai weren't just hacking and slashing. They were dodging Buddhist monks' sermons about sinful desires while chasing thrills that'd make a Shinto priest clutch his beads. Hana's no stranger to these rendezvous, slipping between warriors' tents like a shadow, her kimono stained with mud and secrets. But here's the kicker. Takeshi's rival, Kenta, caught a glimpse of their moonlight dance, and his katana's itching for blood. Camp gossip spreads faster than fleas, and by dawn, bets are on whether it's a duel or a betrayal that'll spill first. Oh, and that fox spirit? Old man Yoshi swears he saw its glowing eyes, whispering lustful omens. Romantic, right? Like signing up for a war and getting a soap opera as DLC. Now imagine stumbling into the camp's bathhouse, a rickety wooden shack where steam curls like a dragon's breath. It's supposed to be a purification ritual, Shinto's big on cleansing before battle. But in 1350s Kyushu, things get dirtier before they get clean. You're shoulder to shoulder with samurai, their tattoos glistening as they soak in cedar tubs, passing a gourd of herbal brew that smells like pine and promises to stir the loins. The stuff's brewed by a one-eyed herbalist who claims it's blessed by kami, but it's got the men grinning like they've just won a siege. Takeshi's there, his eyes locked on Hana across the steam, her damp kimono clinging like a second skin. Their fingers brush under the water, a spark in the haze, and you'd swear the air crackles with more than heat. This ain't no spa day. It's a medieval hookup spot, and everyone's pretending they don't see. But Kenta's lurking, his scowl sharper than his blade, spying for dirt to sell to the camp's lord. See, in samurai camps, loyalty's as shaky as a drunk's aim, and Kenta's got a knack for sniffing out secrets like a hound. The bathhouse reeks of cedar, sake, and betrayal, with Hana whispering to Takeshi about a rival clan's plans. Dangerous talk for a camp follower. Outside, the wind howls and old Yoshi mutters about fox spirits weaving lust into the steam. By the time the men stumble out, half the camp's buzzing with rumours of who's bedding who, and Kenta's plotting something nastier than a hangover. War's brutal, but desires a blade that cuts deeper. Dawn breaks over the Kyushu encampment, 1350s, and the air's sharp with frost and fury. You're standing in a muddy clearing, where samurai gather like it's a medieval pay-per-view event, betting rice rations on blood. Takeshi and Kenta face off, katanas gleaming, all because Kenta saw Takeshi's moonlight romp with Hana, and wants to carve his jealousy into flesh. The duel's no noble affair. Think less samurai flick, more bar brawl with sharper toys. Blades clash, sparks fly, and blood spatters the churned-up mud like a grim haiku. Takeshi's scar twists as he snarls, dodging Kenta's slice that nicks his arm, red seeping through his sleeve. The camp's buzzing with gossip, and here's the spicy bit. Some whisper Kenta's rage isn't just about Hana, but a taboo bond with another samurai, Riku, cloaked as warrior loyalty. In 14th century Japan, such ties were common but hushed. Buddhist monks called them demonic, though half the camp's guilty. You hear retainers snicker. Kenta's sword's not the only thing he swings. Hana watches from the crowd, her eyes darting like a cornered fox, knowing her tryst sparked this mess. Old Yoshi, the camp's resident doomsayer, mutters about a fox spirit's curse, claiming its laughter echoed last night. As Takeshi lands a brutal cut across Kenta's chest, the crowd roars, but the real cut's the secret spilling out. Kenta's love for Riku, now a blade for every gossip's tongue. War's a grind, but love's a duel no one wins clean. Night falls on the 1350s Kyushu camp, and it's like someone hit the chaos button on a medieval Netflix special. You're sprawled by a roaring bonfire, the air heavy with sack fumes and the kind of laughter that follows too many gourds. Samurai and camp followers mix in a sweaty, frenzied blur, defying every Buddhist sermon about restraint. Picture a sake-soaked rager where honour takes a nap and things get weird. Group encounters in the shadows, warriors and women tangled like a knot of eels, all fueled by that herbalist's vitality brew that tastes like regret and pine. It's 14th century Japan, where war's grim, so you grab pleasure like it's the last rice ball. Hana's there, weaving through the crowd, her kimono slipping as she dances for Takeshi, their eyes locked in a heat that could spark a forest fire. But the camp's a tinderbox of secrets, and you catch whispers of betrayal. Kenta, patched up from his duel, plotting with a rival samurai to sell Takeshi out. Then there's old Yoshi, swaying drunk, swearing he saw a fox spirit in the flames, its voice hissing of treachery. The vision's got the men spooked, hands tightening on sword hilts even as they stumble into each other's arms. This ain't no temple ritual. It's a night where desire's a blade, cutting through loyalty faster than a katana. By morning, the camp's a mess of hangovers and rumours, with Kenta's schemes simmering like bad sake. Lust's a party, but betrayal's the uninvited guest. You're back in the 1350s Kyushu encampment, where the sun barely cuts through the morning mist, and the camp's a mess of trampled mud and broken sack jugs from last night's debauchery. Life here's no samurai postcard. Think less honour, more hunger, with famine gnawing at bellies and dysentery playing grim roulette. Amid the chaos you spot Goro, a Weasley retainer with eyes like a rat's, cornering Takeshi behind a tent. Goro's got dirt. He saw Takeshi and Hana's bamboo grove tryst, and now he's dangling it like a medieval blackmail app. "Spill your lord's battle plans," Goro hisses, "or the camp hears about your little camp follower." Takeshi's hand twitches toward his katana, but Goro's got backup. Two thuggish samurai looming nearby, their grins promising a beating. In 14th century Japan, loyalty's as flimsy as rice paper, and retainers like Goro thrive on secrets like fleas on a stray. Hana, meanwhile, slips through the camp, her kimono patched with mud, whispering warnings to Takeshi about Kenta's growing grudge. The air's thick with tension, like a storm brewing over the Nanboku-cho battlefields. Old Yoshi shuffles past, muttering about a fox spirit he saw in his dreams, its tail flicking promises of doom. The camp's a pressure cooker, samurai sharpen blades, monks chant against sin, and Goro's plot tightens like a noose. Desire's a spark, but blackmail's the blade that draws blood first. Night wraps the 1350s Kyushu camp in a blanket of stars, and you're crouched outside a weathered tent where the flicker of a lantern spills secrets. Inside, Takeshi kneels with Riku, a lean samurai with eyes that cut sharper than his blade. They're swearing a warrior's oath, blood brothers they call it, but the air's charged, their shoulders brushing closer than Bushido demands. In 14th century Japan, such bonds between samurai were whispered about, cloaked as loyalty but pulsing with something deeper, something monks would brand heretical. Their hands clasp, calluses scraping, and you catch a glance that's all heat, like a sack-fueled spark in the dark. It's no medieval rom-com though. Kenta's skulking nearby, his jewel scars still raw, eavesdropping with a smirk that screams trouble. He's itching to expose Riku's taboo tie to Takeshi, maybe to curry favour with the camp's lord, or just to watch them burn. The tent smells of straw and sweat, and outside the camp hums with rumours of Hana's latest tryst and Goro's scheming. Old Yoshi, half drunk on stolen sake, rambles about a fox spirit weaving lust through the camp, its laughter haunting his sleep. Takeshi and Riku part with a vow to protect each other, but Kenta's shadow lingers like a curse. Loyalty's a blade in this camp, but love's the edge that cuts both ways. You're deep in the 1350s Kyushu encampment, where the night air's thick with smoke and suspicion, like a medieval soap opera on the brink of a plot twist. Takeshi stumbles from his tent, head fuzzy from too much sake and that herbalist's vitality brew, which is about as holy as a bandit's prayer. He's drawn to the camp's edge, where the bamboo grove hums with an eerie glow. There, in a haze of moonlight, he sees it, a fox spirit, its tails flickering like flames, its eyes glinting with a lustful promise that would make a monk drop his sutras. In 14th century Japan, kitsune were tricksters, weaving desires into men's dreams, and this one's got Takeshi's blood racing. Its whisper, sharp as a blade, urges him toward Hana. picturing her kimono slipping in the dark. But it's no rom-com fantasy. The vision shifts, showing Kenta's katana at his throat, a betrayal brewing. Back in camp, Buddhist monks are on a tear, preaching against demonic desires, their chants clashing with the camp's drunken laughter. Heina's caught wind of Goro's blackmail, her eyes darting as she warns Takeshi to watch his back. Old Yoshi, the camp's doomsayer, swears the fox is Akami's warning, tying every tryst to coming doom. The camp's a tinderbox, samurai sharpening blades, retainers whispering plots, and Takeshi's caught between Desire's pull and the fox's eerie hiss. Love's a spark, but spirits play dirty. It's high noon in the 1350s Kyushu camp, and the air's heavy with dust and dread, like a medieval showdown minus the tumbleweeds. Takeshi's had enough of Kenta's sneers and whispered threats over Hana, their shared lover who's got more secrets than a shogun's spy. The two samurai meet in a clearing, blades drawn, the camp watching like it's a grim reality show. No honour here, just raw, ugly violence. Takeshi's katana slices through Kenta's shoulder, blood spraying like rain on parched earth, and Kenta's counterstrike grazes Takeshi's ribs, a red line blooming through his armour. The 14th century samurai code's all about loyalty, but desires a sharper blade, and Kenta's screams end with a wet gurgle as Takeshi's sword finds his chest. The crowd's silent, save for old Yoshi muttering about fox spirits cursing the camp. Hana watches, her face a mask, but her fingers clutch a stolen dagger. Goro's blackmail has her on edge, and she's whispering to a rival samurai about Takeshi's weaknesses. Intrigues thicker than the camp's mud, with retainers reporting to a rival lord, eyeing the chaos for profit. Monks circle like vultures, condemning the sin of Hana's allure. The body's barely cold, but the camp's alive with bets on who's next to bleed. Desire's a fire, but betrayal's the blade that carves the deepest scars. You're stuck in the 1350s Kyushu encampment, where war's grind has turned the air sour with sweat, smoke and something wilder, like a medieval rave gone wrong. The Nanboku-cho chaos has everyone on edge, and the camp's caught a fever, not of plague, but of raw, reckless desire. Samurai and camp followers dive into bizarre rituals like they're auditioning for a 14th century scandal sheet. Group trysts in the shadow of supply tents, fueled by that herbalist's brew that's half aphrodisiac, half bad idea. Picture a tangle of bodies under flickering torchlight, kimonos discarded like battle plans, all while Buddhist monks patrol, their chants about sin drowned out by drunken laughs. Takeshi's in the thick of it, his hands on Hana, their embrace a defiance of the camp's unravelling order. But the monks are done preaching, their whispering of purges ready to drag sinners to judgment. Old Yoshi, the camp's prophet of doom, swears he saw a fox spirit dancing in the smoke, its giggle promising chaos. Gossip swirls. Hana's been seen with a rival samurai, and Goro's blackmail web tightens, his spies feeding secrets to a rival lord. The camp's a powder keg, war's brutal, but this fever's got samurai risking more than their blades. Desire's a drug, and the monks are about to play rehab with katanas. It's pitch black in the 1350s Kyushu camp, and you're jolted awake by screams and the clash of steel. A rival clan's launched a night raid, turning the place into a medieval mosh pit. Samurai scramble, half drunk, grabbing katanas as arrows zip through the dark like deadly hornets. The air's a mess of blood, sweat, and that weird sexual charge that war somehow sparks. Takeshi's in the fray, his blade hacking through an enemy's armour, blood spraying like a burst wineskin, while he catches Hana slipping through the chaos, her kimono torn, a dagger glinting in her hand. She's no damsel, she's passing secrets to the raiders, her whispers to a rival samurai now clear as day. In 14th century Japan, camp followers were often spies, and Hana's played Takeshi like a koto string. The raid's brutal. Tents burn, a samurai's gutted beside you, his gasp lost in the din. Old Yoshi's cowering, babbling about fox spirits leading the enemy, their eyes glowing in the flames. Goro's nowhere to be seen, likely selling out both sides for a profit. Takeshi spots Hana's betrayal mid-fight, his roar louder than the war cries, but there's no time for revenge. Enemies are everywhere. The camp's a slaughterhouse, and Desire's twisted into something darker, like a blade dipped in lust and treachery. Survival's the only game now, and Heina's just changed the rules. The 1350s Kyushu camp's licking its wounds after the raid, and you're huddled among the survivors, the air sour with ash and fear, like a medieval hangover with extra doom. Buddhist monks, all shaved heads and sanctimonious glares, march in, led by a gaunt zealot named Jiro, who's got a voice like a war drum. He's had it with the camp's heresies, those sake-soaked trysts, same-sex bonds, and Hana's not-so-secret romps. Jiro's decree is straight out of a 14th century TED talk on sin. Your lusts invite Kami's wrath, he thunders, pointing at Takeshi and Riku's whispered loyalty, branding their bond demonic. In Japan back then, monks were like the morality police, swinging sutras instead of swords, but just as deadly. The camp's on edge, samurai clutch katanas, camp followers hide in tents, and villagers nearby mutter about cursed Kami stirring the chaos. Hana's dodging glares, her spy game exposed, while Goro's back smirking, feeding Jiro gossip for a price. Old Yoshi, the camp's resident kook, swears he saw a fox spirit's shadow behind Jiro, its grin promising blood. Takeshi's fists clench, torn between rage and desire, knowing the monk's next move is a purge. The camp's a tinderbox, and Jiro's sermon is the spark. Desire's a flame, but righteousness cuts like a blade. You're creeping through the 1350s Kyushu night, following Takeshi to a sacred bamboo grove where the air hums with something ancient, like a medieval Wi-Fi signal gone rogue. He's meeting Hana, despite her betrayal, drawn by a pull stronger than Bushido. Under moonlight, her kimono slips, revealing skin pale as sakura petals, and their embrace is all heat. Fingers tracing scars, breaths sharp as blades. It's no Netflix romance. It's raw, desperate, like they're stealing time from the kami themselves. In 14th century Japan, sacred groves were Shinto's turf, but tonight, desire's the only deity. A fox spirit's whisper weaves through the bamboo, its voice a seductive hiss, urging Takeshi deeper into Hana's arms. Or is it a trap? Goro's spies lurk, their eyes glinting like rats, ready to sell the scene to the monks or a rival lord. Hana murmurs half-truths about her spying, her dagger hidden, while Takeshi's too lost in her to care. Old Yoshi's voice echoes from camp, ranting about kitsune cursing lovers. The grove's alive with secrets. Every rustle could be a spirit or a blade. Takeshi and Hana cling to this stolen moment, but betrayal's shadow is sharper than any katana. Love's a sanctuary, but spies make it a snare. You're in the 1350s Kyushu camp, where the midday sun does nothing to warm the chill of betrayal hanging over the tents like a bad hangover. A skirmish erupts, not against a rival clan but within the camp itself, samurai turning on each other like wolves over scraps. It's all about desire gone sour. Takeshi's affair with Hana has sparked rivalries, and Riku's whispered bond with him has others crying, "Shame!" Blades flash in a chaotic melee, blood soaking the camp's banner, which flaps like a grim Tinder profile gone wrong. One samurai's gutted over a camp follower's favour, his scream swallowed by the clang of steel. In 14th century Japan, Bushido's supposed to keep things civil, but lust's a messier code. Hana's at the edge, her dagger ready, dodging a drunken warrior who wants her for himself. Goro's in the thick of it, stirring the pot, whispering to a rival samurai about Takeshi's secrets. Old Yoshi, clutching his sack gourd, points to the sky, swearing a fox spirit silhouette danced in the clouds, its cackle foretelling doom. The monks are circling, ready to pounce on this sinful chaos. Takeshi fights back to back with Riku, their loyalty a flickering light in the carnage, but the camp's fracturing faster than a cracked katana. Desire's a banner, but it's blood that writes the story. Night's fallen on the 1350s Kyushu camp, and you're squeezed between samurai around a smoky fire, the air buzzing like a medieval speakeasy on overdrive. The one-eyed herbalist, looking like he crawled out of a folklore scroll, passes around his latest brew, a murky concoction of roots and kami knows what, promising to awaken the spirit. Spoiler, it awakens a lot more, turning the camp into a hotbed of perverse acts. Samurai and camp followers pair off, or pile on, in shadowy corners, their laughter half drunk, half desperate. Think 14th century Japan's version of a wild after-party, where Bushido's just a suggestion. Takeshi's sipping the stuff, his eyes on Hana, but his thoughts drift to Riku, their oath now tangled with something deeper. The brew's got his loyalty wobbling like a bad Wi-Fi signal. Hana's playing her own game, flirting with a rival samurai to cover her spying tracks, her smile sharp as a shuriken. Old Yoshi, slurring, claims the brew's cursed by a fox spirit, its whispers stoking the camp's fever. Monks are sniffing around, their anti-sin radar pinging, while Goro's selling brew-fueled secrets to the highest bidder. The camp's a cauldron of desire, bubbling over with acts that'd make a Shinto priest faint. Loyalty's a blade, but this brew's the poison that dulls it. You're in the 1350s Kyushu camp, where the morning's grim as a medieval DMV line, and the air's thick with dread. A samurai named Riku, Takeshi's sworn brother, kneels in the dirt, his katana glinting before a silent crowd. His taboo bond with Takeshi, more than loyalty, less than secret thanks to Goro's loose lips, has been exposed by the monks, who've branded it a stain on Bushido. In 14th century Japan, honour's a blade, and Riku's chosen seppuku to cleanse his shame. The act's no poetic ritual. His tanto slices into his gut, blood pooling like spilled ink, his gasps roar as he twists the blade. The crowd's hushed, some samurai looking away, others muttering about sin. Takeshi watches, fists clenched, his eyes burning with grief and rage while Hana stands at the edge, her face unreadable, her own secrets teetering. Old Yoshi, swaying nearby, whispers of a fox spirit's cackle in the wind, blaming it for Riku's fall. The monks nod approvingly, but the camp's morale's crumbling faster than a bad sushi roll. Goro's smirking, already spinning new gossip, while the camp's lord eyes Takeshi, sensing weakness. The air reeks of blood and betrayal, and every samurai feels the weight of their own hidden desires. Honour's a mask, but shame's the blade that cuts through. Twilight settles over the 1350s Kyushu camp, and you're skulking near a tattered tent, where Hana's working her magic like a medieval femme fatale. She's targeting a burly samurai named Daichi, a rival lordsman, to pry secrets about troop movements. Her kimono's artfully loose, her smile a lure, and the air's charged as she pours him sake laced with that herbalist's brew. Basically 14th century Viagra with a side of bad decisions. Their banter's all whispers and brushes, her fingers grazing his arm, his eyes glazing like he's swiped right in a dream. In Japan back then, camp followers like Hana were spies as often as lovers, and she's playing Daichi like a koto, coaxing out plans between sips. But the monks are plotting a purge, their lanterns bobbing closer, ready to torch the camp's sins. Takeshi's off licking his wounds from Riku's death, unaware of Hana's game, while Goro's spies lurk, ready to sell her out. Old Yoshi's at it again, muttering about a fox spirit weaving lust into Hana's words, its eyes glinting in the dusk. The tent's a haze of seik and desire, but every word Hana draws from Daichi's lips is a step closer to betrayal. Seduction's a dance, but spies wield the sharpest blades. You're in the 1350s Kyushu camp, and a storm's tearing through like a kami's temper tantrum, turning the place into a medieval water park from hell. Rain lashes tents, lightning cracks the sky, and the wind howls like it's auditioning for a horror flick. Villagers nearby, their fields already half drowned, huddle and whisper that the kami are pissed, punishing the camp's taboo trysts, from Hana's spy games to Takeshi's forbidden nights. In 14th century Japan, Shinto beliefs tied storms to divine wrath, and this one's got everyone spooked. Takeshi's hauling soaked supplies, his eyes haunted since Riku's seppuku, while Hana slips through the chaos, her kimono clinging like a second skin, dodging monks who blame her for the sins stirring the gods. Old Yoshi, soaked and ranting, swears he saw a fox spirit in the lightning, its tails sparking visions of lust and ruin. The monks are rallying, their purge plans gaining steam, and Goro's slinking around, selling secrets to anyone dry enough to listen. A samurai, crazed by the storm, claims he saw Hana in a dream, seducing a kami, blasphemy that's got the camp buzzing. Tents collapse, blades rust, and the air's electric with fear and desire. The kami's wrath is a flood, but it's the camp's secrets that threaten to drown them all. The storm's barely cleared in the 1350s Kyushu camp, and you're caught in a different kind of tempest. Monks, led by the firebrand Jiro, have launched their purge, swinging righteousness like a katana. It's a medieval witch hunt, 14th century style, targeting sinners who've been too cozy with sake sex or each other. The air's thick with screams as monks drag camp followers and samurai to a muddy clearing, their blades flashing in the dawn. One woman's hacked down for tempting a warrior, her blood mixing with the rain-soaked earth. Think Game of Thrones, but with more sutras. Takeshi's had enough. He steps in front of Hana, his katana drawn, defying Jiro's decree to protect her, even after her spying stung him. In Japan back then, monks could rally mobs, but samurai loyalty was a wild card. Goro's egging on the chaos, pointing fingers for profit, while villagers chant about kami curses. Old Yoshi, trembling, swears a fox spirit's laughter rang through the executions. The camp's a slaughterhouse. Some samurai join the purge, others fight back, and Hana's dagger's ready, her eyes fierce. Takeshi's defiance sparks a riot, blades clashing as the camp fractures. Desire's a spark, but this purge is a blade that cuts through everything. You're in the 1350s Kyushu camp, where the purge's aftermath is a mess of blood and broken tents, like a medieval Coachella gone full apocalypse. Takeshi's facing Daichi, the burly samurai Hana seduced for secrets, in a clearing that's more mud than honour. This duel's personal. Daichi's rage over Hana's betrayal and Takeshi's defiance of the monks boils over, their katanas flashing like lightning in a storm. It's no samurai movie grace. It's brutal, visceral, like two bulls in a 14th century cage match. Takeshi's blade carves Daichi's thigh, blood gushing, but Daichi's counterstrike slashes Takeshi's shoulder, red staining his armour. The camp watches split between cheers and fear as monks chant curses and Goro bets on the outcome. Hana's there, her dagger hidden, eyes torn between guilt and survival. Old Yoshi mutters about a fox spirit circling, its laughter fueling the violence. In Japan back then, love and rivalry were as deadly as war, and this duel's proof. Daichi falls, his chest split, his last gasp a curse on Hana. Takeshi stands, bloodied but alive, as the camp splinters, some samurai fleeing, others picking sides. The air's heavy with loss and defiance, and Desire's cost is carved in the mud. Love's a duel, and no one walks away clean. The 1350s. Kyushu camp's a smouldering ruin. Tents charred, bodies strewn like a medieval crime scene. You're with the survivors, picking through the ashes of what was once a warrior's hub, now a graveyard of desire and defiance. The monk's purge failed to cleanse the sin. Takeshi's still standing, blood-crusted but unbowed, with Hana at his side, her spying days done, her dagger sheathed. They're not heroes, they're just too stubborn to break. In 14th century Japan, survival was a middle finger to fate, and these two are flipping it hard. The camp's lord is gone, fled or dead, and Goro's vanished, probably selling secrets elsewhere. Old Yoshi sits by a dying fire, his fox spirit tales now just a tired echo, though he swears one winked at him in the smoke. The survivors, samurai, camp followers, villagers, share a quiet sack gourd, their taboo loves and lusts no longer whispered but worn like scars. No grand redemption here, just resilience, like weeds pushing through ash. The Nambokucho wars grind on, but for now Takeshi and Hana walk into the dawn, their hands brushing, defying monks, kami, and the wreckage behind them. Desire burned the camp, but it's the spark that keeps them alive, and that, folks, is the medieval mess of love, gritty, bloody, and stubborn as hell. You're in the 1360s Kyoto, slipping into a pleasure quarter where paper lanterns cast a glow, like a medieval Instagram filter, all warm and seductive. The Nanboku-cho wars have samurai flooding the city, and this tea house is their escape, a den of sake, songs, and secrets. Meet Aiko, an early geisha-like courtesan with a voice like silk and a smile that could disarm a shogun. She's strumming a shamisen, a coded song weaving tales of love that double as intel for a rival clan, think medieval karaoke with espionage vibes. A samurai named Haruto, all scars and swagger, is hooked, his eyes tracing her kimono's curve as she pours him sake. In 14th century Japan, pleasure quarters were where samurai spent coin and spilled secrets, but Aiko's playing a dangerous game. Her rival, Yuki, watches from the shadows, her own charms ignored, plotting to expose Aiko's spying. The tea house hums with laughter and clinking cups, but the air's thick with intrigue, like a Tinder date with katanas. Old Sumi, the tea house crone, mutters about a kami dream warning of betrayal, her words lost in the din. Aiko's song ends. Haruto's hand grazes hers, and the night's just getting started. Desire's a melody, but secrets are the strings that snap. It's late in the 1360s Kyoto tea house, and you're caught in a haze of sake fumes and candlelight, where the vibe's like a medieval rave with better outfits. Aiko's got the room buzzing with a drinking game, passing around cups spiked with an herbal brew, some shady mix of ginseng and who knows what, sold as an aphrodisiac but hitting like a 14th century energy drink. The rules are simple: drink, flirt, repeat, until someone's kimono's on the floor. Haruto's deep in, his laugh slurred, his hand bowled on Aiko's wrist, and the air's electric with heat that'd make a Shinto priest blush. Things escalate, samurai and courtesans pair off, their giggles turning to gasps behind silk screens, a frenzied coupling that's less romance, more chaos. But Yuki's not playing. She's watching, her eyes sharp as a dagger, plotting to tip off a monk about Aiko's spy game. In Japan back then, pleasure quarters were gossip hubs, and Yuki's got a grudge sharper than a katana. Old Sumi, sweeping the floor, mumbles about a kami dream of broken strings, a bad omen. Aiko's smile doesn't waver, but her fingers brush a hidden blade as Haruto pulls her closer. Desires a game, but betrayal's the wild card that flips the board. You're back in the 1360s Kyoto pleasure quarter, where the tea house glows like a medieval speakeasy, all lanterns and lust. Aiko, the courtesan with a spy's cunning, has Haruto, the scarred samurai, wrapped around her shamisen strings. He's obsessed, trailing her like a moth to a flame, and tonight in a candlelit corner their tryst is pure heat. Her kimono slips, his calloused hands trace her skin, their breaths a tangle in the shadows. It's no 14th century rom-com, it's raw, like swiping right with a katana at your back. Aiko's milking Haruto for secrets, her whispers coaxing out troop movements for a rival clan, each word a step deeper into treason. In Japan back then, pleasure quarters were espionage hubs, and Aiko's playing a high-stakes game. Yuki, her rival, lurks nearby, her jealousy sharp as a shuriken, ready to spill Aiko's double-dealing to the monks. Old Sumi, the tea-house hag, mutters about a kami dream where a crane fell, a bad sign for lovers. The air's thick with jasmine and intrigue, and Haruto's obsession blinds him to Aiko's blade, hidden under her sleeve. Desires a trap, and Aiko's setting the springs. It's another steamy night in the 1360s Kyoto tea house, where the air's a cocktail of sake, sweat and secrets, like a medieval gossip app gone viral. Aiko's peddling love charms, bits of temple incense wrapped in silk, blessed by a shady priest and sold as guaranteed heart melters. Samurai snap them up, slipping them to courtesans, sparking taboo affairs that'd make a Shinto priest clutch his staff. One warrior's charm lands him in a frenzy with two courtesans, their giggles echoing behind a screen, while another's charm backfires, leaving him lovesick and broke. In 14th century Japan, such charms were big business, but they came with whispers of kami curses. Yuki's fuming, her own charms ignored, and she's whispering to a Shinto priest about Aiko's blasphemous hustle. The priest, all robes and rage, warns of kami wrath, his sermon cutting through the tea-house din. Old Sumi, polishing cups, rambles about a kami dream of shattered incense, a curse on the quarter. Aiko keeps smiling, her latest charm tucked into Haruto's belt, but Yuki's betrayal is brewing faster than the herbal brews. Desires a charm, but curses are the strings that bind. You're in the 1360s Kyoto pleasure quarter, where the tea house is a powder keg lit by sake and jealousy, like a medieval reality show gone feral. A brawl erupts over Aiko, the courtesan spy, when Haruto catches another samurai, Taro, slipping her a charm and a leer. Katanas flash faster than gossip, and the place turns into a 14th century fight club. Haruto's blade slices Taro's arm, blood splattering the tatami like a bad art project, while Taro's counterstrike grazes Haruto's cheek, red dripping like war paint. It's not chivalric, this is raw, ugly, with tables smashed and sack jugs flying. In Japan back then, samurai egos were as sharp as their swords, and a coveted courtesan could spark a riot. Yuki, Aiko's rival, fans the flames, whispering to onlookers about Aiko's secret alliances with a rival clan, her words spreading like wildfire. Old Sumi, dodging a stray cup, mutters about a kami dream of clashing blades, a warning ignored in the chaos. Aiko slips back, her kimono torn, clutching a dagger as gossip about her spying hits the crowd. The brawl's a mess of grunts and steel, and the quarter's buzzing with her secrets. Desire's a spark, but jealousy's the blade that draws blood. The 1360s Kyoto tea house is alive with lantern glow and tension, like a medieval sting operation set to a shamisen beat. Aiko's on stage, her performance a masterclass in deception. Her song's coded lyrics spill secrets about samurai troop movements, meant for a rival clan spy in the crowd. Her voice is honey, her kimono swaying just enough to keep every samurai, especially Haruto, spellbound. It's 14th century espionage with a side of seduction, like dropping intel in a DM while batting your lashes. Haruto's in deep, his obsession clouding his gut, feeling that something's off, but his eyes don't leave Aiko's. Yuki's in the shadows, her smirk sharp, ready to tip off a monk about Aiko's double dealing, her jealousy now a weapon. In Japan's pleasure quarters, songs were as dangerous as blades, and Aiko's playing a deadly tune. Old Sumi, sweeping spilled sake, grumbles about a kami dream of a silent song, an omen of betrayal. Aiko's fingers brush Haruto's as she passes him a cup, her smile hiding the dagger under her sleeve. The crowd claps, oblivious to the secrets woven into her notes, but Haruto's starting to squint. Desire's a melody, but suspicion's the chord that sours it. You're back in the 1360s Kyoto pleasure quarter, where the tea house hums like a medieval nightclub on the edge of a bust. A Shinto priest, all robes and righteous fury, storms in, his staff thumping like a gavel. He's had it with the quarter's vices, sake-soaked trysts, Aiko's charm hustle, and the samurai who treat the place like a 14th century tinder hub. Your sins anger the kami, he bellows, threatening purges that'd make a monk look tame. The air's thick with fear and defiance, lanterns flickering like they know trouble's coming. Aiko, cool as ever, sidles up to Haruto, her kimono brushing his arm, her whispers seducing him into promising protection from the priest's wrath. It's pure 14th century power play, sex as a shield, with Aiko's dagger ready if charm fails. Yuki's smirking, feeding the priest dirt on Aiko's spying, her betrayal sharper than a katana. Old Sumi, wiping tables, mutters about a kami dream of a cracked shrine, a sign of doom. The samurai are restless, hands on hilts, while courtesans exchange glances, plotting their next move. Aiko's smile hides her fear, but Haruto's loyalty is her only armour. Desire's a bargain, but the priest's condemnation is a blade at the quarter's throat. The 1360s Kyoto pleasure quarters are battlefield now, not of blades, but of wills, like a medieval standoff with better music. The Shinto priest's purge looms, backed by samurai itching to cleanse the quarter, but Aiko and the courtesans aren't bowing. They band together, a sisterhood of silk and steel, defying priest and samurai alike. Aiko leads, her shamisen silent, her voice rallying the women to hide their charms and daggers, turning the tea house into a fortress of defiance. In 14th century Japan, women in pleasure quarters had no power, except what they carved out, and these women are carving deep. Yuki, shamed by her betrayal, joins them, her grudge buried for survival. Haruto, torn by Aiko's spying, stands guard, his katana a warning to the priest's mob. Old Sumi, lighting lanterns, speaks of a kami dream where women dance free, a spark of hope. The priest's men back off, cowed by the quarter's unity, and the samurai grumble but retreat. The tea house stands, its lanterns glowing, a testament to resilience. Aiko shares sack with her sisters, their laughter a middle finger to the world that tried to break them. Desire's a fire, but defiance is the flame that burns eternal. You're in a 1470s rural Japanese village, where the night's alive with fireflies and secrets, and a sacred grove hums like a medieval Coachella, with kami on the guest list. The villagers, under Shinto's sway, are holding a fertility rite, their bodies swaying in communal dances under moonlight, kimonos slipping in the heat. It's no church picnic. Think sensual, sweaty, like a 14th century rave where everyone's a little too close. Mika, a shrine maiden with eyes like a storm, leads the chant, her movements drawing gasps from farmers and samurai alike. In Japan back then, fertility rites were about crops and kids, but they blurred into something wilder, defying Buddhist monks' glares. A samurai named Kenji, sent to oversee the village, watches Mika, his katana loose, his thoughts anything but honourable. The air's thick with cedar and desire, but whispers of betrayal stir. Some villagers suspect Mika's rites are heretical. Old Taro, the village storyteller, mutters about a kami dream of tangled roots, a warning of trouble. The grove pulses with chants and heat, but the samurai's gaze and the villagers' gossip are blades in the dark. Desire's a dance, but rebellion's the rhythm that drives it. The 1370s village grove is a haze of moonlight and mischief, and you're caught in the thick of it, where the fertility rites gone from sacred to scandalous. Villagers pass around a brew, some herbal mix of mugwort and mystery, blessed by Mika the Shrine Maiden, but potent as a 14th century shot of Red Bull. It hits hard, sparking visions of kami, their forms shimmering with lustful whispers that'd make a monk choke on his rice. Couples slip into the shadows, their gasps blending with the crickets, while others dance closer, boundaries blurring like a medieval free-for-all. Kenji, the samurai, seizes his chance, his hands on Mika, coaxing her into a secluded corner with promises of protection, his breath hot with brew and ambition. In Japan back then, samurai often exploited village rites, and Kenji's no saint. A villager, Hana, spies them, her jealousy sharp. She's got eyes for Mika too, and she's whispering to others about blasphemy. Old Taro, half drunk on the brew, rambles about a kami dream of a fox leading lovers astray. The grove's a cauldron of desire and danger, and Mika's caught between her role and Kenji's grip. Visions are a spark, but betrayal's the blade that waits. You're in the 1370s Japanese village, where the morning sun barely cuts through the mist, and the vibe's tense, like a medieval group chat about to explode. A Buddhist monk, Kyo, all robes and righteous scowl, stomps into the village square, his staff thumping like he's auditioning for a 14th century TED talk on morality. He's heard about Mika's fertility rites in the grove, those sweaty, brew-fueled dances, and he's calling them heretical, a slap to the Buddha's face. In Japan back then, monks were like the fun police, sniffing out Shinto rituals that got too wild. Villagers scramble to hide traces of their taboo practices, herbal brews stashed, kimonos patched, while Mika, the Shrine Maiden, stands calm, her eyes defiant. Kenji, the samurai, looms nearby, his katana a warning to Kyo, but his own tryst with Mika's got him on edge. Hana, the jealous villager, fuels the fire, whispering to Kyo about unnatural acts in the grove, her words sharp as a sickle. Old Taro, weaving baskets, mutters about a kami dream of a cracked altar, a sign of coming strife. Intrigue bubbles as villagers pick sides, some loyal to Mika, others scared of Kyo's threats. The air's thick with cedar and fear, and rebellion's brewing. Faith's a shield, but accusations are the blade that pierces it. It's twilight in the 1370s village, and you're back in the sacred grove, where the air's heavy with incense and something darker, like a medieval after-party gone rogue. The villagers, led by Mika, are deep in their fertility rite, but it's taken a perverse turn. Offerings to appease the kami include not just rice or sake, but bodily fluids, whispered about in Shinto folklore as potent but taboo. Picture 14th century Japan's weirdest potluck. A farmer leaves a vial under a cedar, a couple slips away to honour the kami in the bushes, their gasps blending with the wind. Mika oversees it all, her chant steady, but her heart's racing. Kenji's pushing for more, his hands bold, exploiting the right for his own desires. Hana, the betrayer, can't take it. She rats out Mika to the monk Kyo, pointing fingers at the grove's blasphemies to bury her own jealousy. In villages back then, Shinto rituals could skirt the edge of scandal, and Hana's lit the fuse. Old Taro, leaning on his cane, rambles about a kami dream of bloodied offerings, a bad omen. The grove's a haze of devotion and danger, and Mika's caught between sacred duty and Hana's knife in the dark. Offerings are a prayer, but betrayal's the blade that cuts the deepest. You're in the 1370s Japanese village, where dawn breaks like a bad omen, and the air's thick with smoke and screams, like a medieval horror flick cranked to 11. The Buddhist monk Kyo, backed by a squad of samurai, has launched a purge, hell-bent on cleansing the village of Mika's taboo fertility rites. Katanas flash in the square, and it's grim. A farmer's cut down for hiding brew, his blood soaking the dirt, while a woman's dragged off, her screams cut short by a blade. In 14th century Japan, monks could turn villages into slaughterhouses over heresy, and Kyo's on a roll. Mika, the shrine maiden, stands defiant, her kimono torn, wielding a staff to shield the sacred grove. She rallies villagers, their pitchforks no match for steel, but their spirits fierce. Kenji the samurai hesitates, his lust for Mika clashing with his orders, until he turns on Kyo's men, his katana carving a bloody arc. Hana, the betrayer, cowers, her accusations now ash in her mouth. Old Taro, clutching a charm, mutters about a kami dream of a burning grove, a warning too late. The purge's chaos splits the village, some fight, some flee, but Mika's defiance is a beacon. Faith's aflame, but blood's the blade that writes this story. The 1370s village is a scarred shadow of itself, the purge's wreckage strewn like a medieval crime scene, but you're with the survivors, rebuilding under a stubborn sun. Mika, battered but unbowed, leads the villagers in a quiet Shinto rite. No brews or taboo offerings this time, just prayers for resilience, the grove's cedars still standing. In 14th century Japan, oppression couldn't kill spirit, and this village is proof, piecing itself back together like a broken kintsugi bowl. Kenji's gone, maybe dead, maybe fled, his brief defiance a spark that saved Mika. Hana, shamed, works silently, her betrayal forgiven but not forgotten. Old Taro, leaning on his cane, speaks of a kami dream, where a fox led the village to peace, its eyes no longer mocking. The monks are gone, their purge a failure, and the samurai overseers keep their distance, wary of the village's quiet strength. Villagers share rice, their laughter soft, their taboo rites now whispers of defiance against a world that tried to break them. Mika's final prayer honours the kami, not with offerings, but with the stubborn pulse of survival. Desire burned bright, but resilience is the legacy that endures, a middle finger to the gods and men who demanded submission. Picture yourself in a French castle, 1372, the 100 Years' War grinding on like a bad hangover. You're a courtier, low enough to be hungry, sharp enough to survive. The halls are a riot of silk and candlelight, nobles laughing over spiced wine while the world outside starves. Tonight's a masked feast, a decadent escape from sieges and taxes, and you're here. Velvet mask tight on your face, heart thumping like a war drum. The air's thick with musk and secrets, and in this court secrets are sharper than swords. You weave through the crowd, goblet in hand, dodging lords with wandering hands and ladies with poisoned smiles. The feast is a spectacle. Roast swan, figs dripping honey, minstrels plucking lutes like it's a medieval Tinder meetup. But there's a buzz beneath the chatter, a current of forbidden thrill. Whispers say the real party's below, in the cellars, where masks hide more than faces. You're curious, maybe reckless, and when a masked woman, call her Isabel, her eyes like dark wine, beckons you toward a shadowed stair, you follow. The cellar's a different world, damp stone and flickering torches, the air heavy with sweat and sin. A dozen nobles are here, masks askew, their laughter low and raw. It's no banquet, it's an orgy, bodies tangled in a dance older than chivalry. Isabel's hand grazes your arm, her touch a spark, and she murmurs, "Join us or watch." But choose quick. Your pulse races. This is no game for the timid. The church would call it heresy, the king would call it treason. But here, desire's the only law. You hesitate, catching a glimpse of a knight, his mask half off, pressing a man close, chivalric oaths be damned. Isabel's smile is a dare, her fingers tracing your jaw, but there's a shadow at the edge, a figure watching, cloaked and still. A spy. The church is. Your gut twists. This feast is a trap and you're already in too deep. Desire's a blade and you're dancing on its edge. Isabel's breath hot against your ear, the watcher's eyes colder than steel. The cellar's heat clings to you as you slip back to the feast. Isabel's laughter echoing in your ears. It's 1372 and the French court's a snake pit, every smile hiding fangs. You didn't join the cellar's dance, not yet, but Isabel's offer, her touch, her whispered "come back," is a hook in your gut. The masked figure you saw watching haunts you, a reminder that secrets here are currency and you're spending fast. Upstairs, the hall's still alive, nobles drunk on wine and power, but you're sober now, eyes sharp for trouble. Isabel finds you by a tapestry, her mask gone, her face all angles and allure. You're cautious, she says, handing you a goblet, its contents glinting oddly in the candlelight. Good, but caution's no fun. She's a noble woman, married to some warlord, but her game's her own. She leans close, her scent like roses and danger, and whispers of an elixir, a brew from an alchemist said to loose the heart and bind the soul. One sip, she purrs, and you're mine. It's seduction, sure, but also power, and in this court, they're the same. You don't drink, not yet, but the goblet's heavy, its promise heavier. Isabel's eyes track you, amused, as if she's already won. The elixir's no tavern swill. Alchemists are half heretics, their brews tied to whispers of magic forbidden by the church. You've heard of them. Potions to spark lust, seal alliances, or break enemies. Is she testing you, or worse, trapping you? The watcher from the cellar's here too, you're sure of it, their cloak blending with the crowd. A monk, maybe, sniffing for sin to report to Paris. A scream cuts the air, a lady's, sharp and staged. It's a distraction, and Isabel uses it, her hand on your wrist, urging you to drink. Trust me, she says, but trust's a fool's bet in 1372. The goblet's at your lips, the elixir's scent sharp and sweet, and you're teetering. Desire, intrigue, betrayal, all swirling in that sip. The watcher's closer now, their gaze a blade, and Isabel's smile is a noose tightening. You're a courtier, not a knight, but this is your duel, and the stakes are your soul. The feast glow fades as you slip into the castle's shadowed corridors. Isabel's elixir still awaiting your hand, undrunk. It's 1372, and the French court's a labyrinth of whispers and blades, every step a gamble. The scream from the hall was a noblewoman's tantrum, but it gave you an out, away from Isabel's pull and the watcher's stare. Now you're alone, or so you think, until you hear it. Low voices, urgent, behind a tapestry. Curiosity's a vice, but you're neck deep in it, so you listen, heart thudding like a siege ram. It's two knights, their armour clinking softly, their words heavy with something more than chivalry. Swear it, Guillaume, one says, voice rough with need. No one knows. You peek, and there they are, Sir Guillaume, a war hero, and a younger knight, their hands clasped, faces close, masks discarded. This isn't brotherhood, it's forbidden, a love the church would burn them for. In 1372, chivalric oaths are a mask for all sorts of sins, but this one's raw, real, and dangerous. Their lips meet, a stolen moment, and you're frozen, caught between awe and dread. Then, footsteps. The watcher from the cellar, cloaked and silent, glides past, their presence a chill down your spine. They don't see the knights, but they're close, and you realise you're not the only one spying. The knights break apart, Guillaume's hand on his sword, but the watcher's gone, a ghost in the stone. You back away, the elixir sloshing in its goblet, your mind racing. This oath you've witnessed. It's a secret worth killing for, and you're holding it along with Isabel's brew, like a torch in a powder keg. You're back in the hall's fringes, the feast's noise a dull roar. Isabel's there, watching, her smile a question. The night's secret burns in your chest. Tell her, and you gain her favour. Stay silent, and you keep their trust. But for how long? The watcher's out there, and the church's spies never sleep. Desire's a currency, but so's silence. And in this court, every choice is a blade. You grip the goblet. The elixir's scent a taunt, and wonder if loyalty's just another mask you'll have to shed. The castle's air is thick with wine and intrigue, the feast winding down but the night far from over. It's 1372 and you're a courtier caught in a web of secrets. Isabel's elixir, the knight's oath, the watcher's shadow. You've kept the goblet close, its contents untasted, but its weight is a reminder of the choices piling up. Now the crowd's moving, nobles giggling like naughty children, toward a chamber for a bedding ceremony. It's no quaint tradition here. In this court it's a spectacle, a power play dressed in silken lust. The chamber's a velvet cage, lit by candles that flicker like gossip. A young bride, barely a pawn in some lord's alliance, is led to a canopied bed, her groom a leering baron twice her age. The nobles watch, masks off, their eyes hungry, not for love but for control. You're at the edge, Isabel beside you, her breath warm as she whispers, "See how they play?" The ceremony's a ritual but perverse. The crowd's cheers a veneer for deals sealed in flesh. The bride's eyes are blank, the baron's hands greedy, and you're sickened, but this is the court's currency. Isabel nudges you, her fingers brushing the goblet. "Drink," she urges, "or give it to him." She means the baron, a nod to chaos. Dose him, and the ceremony's a scandal, his power cracked. It's a move to shift the board, but whose side is she on? You spot Guillaume in the crowd, his face tight, the younger knight absent. The watchers here too, their cloak a stain in the candlelight, and you know they're cataloguing every sin. The elixir's a weapon, but using it marks you. Refuse, and Isabel's favour slips along with your edge. A shout erupts. The baron's drunk, pouring the bride, and the crowd laughs, but it's cruel. A medieval reality show with no escape. You're trapped. The goblet heavy. Isabel's gaze a dare. Then you see it. A glint of steel under the watcher's cloak. A blade? A threat? The ceremony's a distraction, and you're in the crosshairs, holding a secret that could burn the court down. Desire's a leash, power's a blade, and you're balancing on both. The bedding's chaos a mirror of the choice you can't dodge. The bedding ceremony's chaos lingers like cheap perfume, but you're out of the chamber now, the elixir still undrunk in your grip. It's 1372, and the French castle's halls are a maze of stone and suspicion. Isabel's gone, her last whisper. Choose soon, a thorn in your mind. The night's secret and the watcher's threat weigh heavy, but the court never sleeps, and trouble's found you again. You're passing the scriptorium, a dim room of quills and secrets, when a crash echoes, steel on steel, voices sharp with rage. Curiosity's your curse, so you slip inside. Two men are locked in a duel, desks shoved aside, parchments scattered like fallen leaves. It's Sir Guillaume, the knight from the corridor, his sword flashing against a rival. Lord Reynard, a noble with a viper's smile and a grudge. "You dare," Reynard snarls, parrying, his blade nicking Guillaume's arm. Blood drips stark on the stone, and you realise this isn't about honour. It's personal, tied to the oath you witnessed, the forbidden love Reynard must suspect. The court's a chessboard, and love's a move that gets you checkmated. You're hidden behind a shelf, the goblet cold in your hand, but the fight's a spark in a dry barn. Guillaume's fierce, but Reynard's cunning, his blade aiming to maim. "Your squire's next," Reynard taunts, and Guillaume roars, his sword slashing air. The younger knight's absence burns. This duel's a lover's vengeance, and you're a witness, trapped. The watcher's shadow looms. You feel their eyes, though the room's empty save for the fighters. In 1372, a secret like this is a death sentence, and you're holding it, along with Isabel's elixir, like a loaded crossbow. A desk splinters under Reynard's boot, and Guillaume stumbles, blood streaking his tunic. You could act, toss the elixir, distract them, save a life, but whose? Or stay silent, let the duel play out, and keep your hands clean. The court's no place for heroes, but inaction's a choice too. Steel sings, and Reynard's blade grazes Guillaume's throat. You're a courtier, not a knight, but the goblet's a weapon, and the duel's a mirror, desire's a blade, and you're about to cut or bleed. The scriptorium's duel ends in a draw. Guillaume's alive, Reynard's limping, both swearing silence to save their skins. You're back in the castle's gut. 1372's shadow's your only friend. The elixir still clutched like a guilty secret. The court's a cauldron, bubbling with intrigue, and you're boiling in it. Isabel's game, the knight's oath, the bedding's power plays. But the watcher's been your ghost, and now they're real, stepping from a cloister's gloom as you pass. A monk, hooded, their voice low and sharp. You see too much, courtier. It's Brother Anselm, the church's spy, his eyes like flint under the cowl. He's no cellar skulker now. He's bold, knowing the court's sins are his leverage. "The elixir," he says, nodding at your goblet. "Heresy in a cup, and the knights, sodomites, defying God. He knows it all, or enough to burn you, Guillaume, and half the court." In 1372 the church is a hammer, and Anselm's swinging it, sniffing out scandal to curry favour with Paris. Your stomach twists. He's the watcher, and you're his prey.